Taking our place among extraterrestrials. Human beings, as a general rule, have always been afraid of the unknown, and yet we have an undying curiosity about the unknown that draws us to it, spurred by our sense of adventure. Fear always seems to lose out to the excitement of learning something new, but until we learn, we can sometimes react irrationally to what we do not understand. That being said, I have had some remarkable encounters with beings not of this planet. My first experiences began in my early teenage years. I should begin by making one thing very clear. Not a single encounter has ever been negative or caused me any harm. In fact, I look forward with great excitement to each new encounter. Each time, I learn even more about who they are, what they want, and what our role is in the greater plan for our vast universe. A plan that both they and I agree is of God. Many people may not have considered extraterrestrials and spirituality to be intricately linked, but they are. I assure you that their interest in our planet has nothing to do with our politics, climate, or physical evolution, although these things affect their greater agenda. Their primary concern, at least as far as my own observation goes, is our spirituality. We have reached a point where humanity is waking from a long, dark sleep, and we have many observers at our bedside, including extraterrestrials, waiting for us to join them with the rest of the universe. Recently, my interaction with these beings has deepened to an intensely personal level. Individual ETs are now beginning to introduce themselves to me personally in order that I get used to them and know them more intimately. I feel they are doing this so as to make future open global contact go more smoothly. I think the idea is that the more people who are mentally acclimated to their look and feel, the easier their outing will be. At least that's the impression that I'm getting. All contact previous to what I'm about to share here has been in the physical. I most certainly felt as though I had left my bed and traveled somewhere to have interactions with them. And aside from a single incident, they have always been small gray beings with large dark eyes. But recent contact has revealed new races of beings through lucid dreaming, a state in which I am aware the experience is taking place in my mind, but it seems as real as waking life. My contact with them has continued to evolve as my relationship with them deepens. I will share one such experience here. On October 9th, 2020, my family and I went on a 2-night camping trip along the Superior Hiking Trail, not many miles from Duluth, Minnesota. That first chilly night, I snuggled into my warm sleeping bag and found myself instantly drifting off to sleep after a rigorous first day out in the wilderness. I then began to dream something strange and wonderful. A beautiful alien being appeared before me. Her form filled my view, and the power of her presence was overwhelming. Not only could I clearly see her, but I could feel her as well. She radiated pure love. I felt as though I was in the presence of a truly divine being. She was shining with an inner light that formed a halo around her entire body. I lay there and began to observe the details of her face. As I did this, I became aware that I wasn't quite asleep. I could still feel my sleeping bag around me, and that I was lying on my back, facing upward. I realized that I was having a lucid dream. I was awake, but in a state where this glorious being could reach me while I was semi-conscious. As I began to look closely at her face, she zoomed in to accommodate me. She had pale blue skin that seemed to have a slight glow to it, as though her spirit shone from within. Her hair was straight, pure white, and hung down past her shoulders. She had bangs that were gently pushed to one side of her face. Her eyes were large and totally dark, and when I looked into them, they expressed only the deepest, compassionate love I have ever felt. Her nose was small, no more than a hint of a bump, almost non-existent. Her mouth was thin, and the corners were curved up in a faint but endearing smile. She zoomed back out a bit, and I could see she was sitting. The rest of her body was lean and thin-limbed, but had our basic humanoid shape. I could scarcely believe how beautiful she was. Even in my dreamlike state, I marveled at how someone who appeared so different from humans could appear so glorious to me. Her beauty was her own, and was incomparable to any human. In addition to her captivating beauty, she felt ancient and wise to me, and with this thought, she told me telepathically that she was only nearly halfway through her time in this body. I then asked her name. She replied with a thought, "You can call me Aya." She then wordlessly expressed to me that she was merely introducing herself and had been assigned to me as part of her work as a contact personality with humans. This implied I was not her only charge. There were others she was assigned to. She indicated that this was only the initial introduction and there would be further contact as time went on. She then disappeared, only to be immediately replaced by another, yet totally different extraterrestrial being. This one was male, and if Aya had felt ancient to me, this individual felt beyond all time and wisdom. His skin was the color of sandpaper, and he had an elongated head that slightly curved off behind him. He had large, dark, insect-like eyes, and looking into them, I felt as though I might disappear into his benevolence. I could not hold his gaze. There were only 2 small, faint holes for a nose, and his mouth was just a thin line. His hands curved around in front of him like a praying mantis, ending in long, thin fingers. He mentally explained that he was Aya's mentor, a being from a race even more ancient and advanced than hers. He, too, then disappeared. The vision had abruptly ended, and I lay there in my sleeping bag wide awake, wondering about what had just happened and what it all meant. I had a second encounter exactly 2 months later on December 9th, 2020. Brevity does not allow me to reveal the details of that meeting in this article, but if interest is keen, I will share more in future articles. Of the second encounter, I can say this. I was introduced to a being I have never yet conceived of, and in a unique way that only she could have contrived. We have now begun an ongoing dialogue of which she says, will turn the world on its end, part of a masterpiece of information not yet fully revealed on your planet. I am taking careful notes of our conversations, which are being compiled into my next book, Awakening Humanity, Our Place Among Extraterrestrials and Angels. Where are these different races of extraterrestrial beings from? Several times I've tried to ask, and sometimes the answer is Pleiades or Sirius, and sometimes I am told, places in your grand universe you have yet to know. This then led to my question of how they could possibly travel such great distances, and the only answer I have ever gotten so far is, time and space are an illusion. We belong to a family much greater than the human race alone. Time is fast approaching our meeting of them. They will not reveal themselves fully until enough of us are ready for such an encounter, for they are far advanced in spirituality and love, and will not push us faster than we can go towards their vibration. They are enlightened and awake, fully aware of who they are in relation to us and to God. Let us show them we understand this too, and allow them to help us enter a new age of light and love, an age of joint co-creation, of a future more wondrous than we could ever have imagined.